The dog was the first thing that didn't make sense. I don't even own one, but when I opened my bedroom door last night, there it was, just standing at the end of the hall. Pitch black, but not like fur. More like the space it filled was carved out of reality itself. No reflection from the light, no sound of breathing, no smell. Just a dog-shaped void watching me with nothing where its eyes should have been. I froze, trying to convince myself it was a shadow, maybe a trick from the streetlight outside. But then it moved. Slowly, it padded forward, its paws making no sound against the floor. My throat locked up. I tried to back into my room, but the second I blinked, it was gone. Gone. Not like it walked away, but like it was never there at all. That should have been the end of it. A hallucination, maybe. Stress. Lack of sleep. But the second I turned back into my room, something else had changed. My laptop screen was on, even though I'd shut it down before bed. And in the search bar, without me touching a thing, were the words. Do you see it too? I just stood there staring at the words, my heart hammering so hard it hurt. Do you see it too? I hadn't typed that. I hadn't even touched the computer. My hands were still shaking at my sides. The cursor blinked at the end of the sentence, like it was waiting for me to respond. I don't know what possessed me, but I sat down and tapped out. See what? For a few seconds nothing happened. Then, without the sound of keys being pressed, new letters appeared. The dog. I swear every hair on my arm stood up. I slammed the laptop shut and pushed it away from me like it was a venomous snake. My room felt smaller, like the walls were pressing in. That's when I heard the sound. From the hallway. Click, click, click. Like nails tapping the hardwood. Slow. Careful. Coming closer. The sound stopped right outside my door. I couldn't breathe. I sat there on the edge of my bed, every muscle in my body screaming not to look, but I did anyway. I turned my head, just enough to see the thin line of light under the door. A shadow slid across it. Not like someone walking past. It lingered, pressed against the crack, as if something was crouched right there, waiting. Then the handle moved. Just a tiny rattle, enough to send me scrambling backward until my spine hit the wall. I grabbed the nearest thing I could, a lamp with a crooked shade, and held it like a weapon. My heart was slamming against my ribs so hard I thought it might burst. The rattling stopped. Silence. And then, just when I started to think maybe I'd imagined it, a voice whispered through the door. Low. Female. Calm. You shouldn't have answered. I dropped the lamp. The sound of it clattering on the floor felt deafening in that silence. My first thought was that someone had broken in. A woman, maybe, hiding in my house and screwing with me. But the voice hadn't sounded right. There was no weight to it, no breath behind the words. It was like hearing a recording played underwater. I pressed myself against the wall, trying to stay quiet. The knob didn't move again. No more whispers. Just that suffocating silence. I don't know how long I sat there, shaking. Eventually, I forced myself to crawl forward and put my eye to the crack between the door and the frame. The hallway was empty. No dog. No shadow. Nothing. But when I pulled back, there was a new sound, soft, rhythmic, coming from my laptop. I hadn't opened it, but it was humming like the speakers were on. I leaned closer, and my stomach dropped. It was playing audio. A woman's voice, repeating the same words over and over, distorted but unmistakable. You shouldn't have answered. You shouldn't have answered. You shouldn't have answered. I slammed the laptop shut again, but the voice didn't stop. The sound kept seeping out, muffled, like it was leaking through the plastic itself. My instinct was to run, to just grab my keys and bolt out of the house. But when I reached the door and yanked it open, my stomach turned to ice. The hallway wasn't my hallway anymore. It curved, perfectly circular, the floor sloping down like I was standing inside a giant ring. My brain couldn't process it. I knew my house wasn't built that way, but there it was, a looping hall, doorways on either side, and a staircase that twisted down and down until the dark swallowed it whole. And the worst part? I could see myself. At least, I thought it was me. Far ahead, on the opposite side of the circle, another figure was standing in a doorway. Same clothes, same terrified posture. Just staring back at me. Neither of us moved. Then the lights flickered, and when they came back on, the other me was gone. I backed into my room so fast I nearly tripped over the lamp. My brain was spinning, screaming that I must be dreaming. I kept muttering it under my breath. Wake up, wake up, wake up. But the cold metal of the doorknob in my hand felt real. The stench of dust from the carpet felt real. I needed proof. something I could look at in the morning and convince myself this wasn't some psychotic break. So I grabbed my phone and snapped a picture of the hallway. The flash lit up the curve for a split second. Empty. But when I checked the photo, my blood froze. The dog was there. Not at the end, not far away, right up close, like it had been inches from the camera when the picture was taken. Its face was just a hole, like someone had burned through the image with acid. I dropped the phone. The screen cracked when it hit the floor, but the photo stayed. That black void where a muzzle and eyes should have been, staring straight at me. Then my phone lit up with a notification. From a number I didn't recognize. Stop taking pictures. We're already here. I swear I almost threw the phone across the room, but some part of me needed to know, needed to see if it would happen again. My thumb hovered, shaking, before I tapped the message open. No typing bubble. No contact info. Just those words. I tried to take a screenshot, but the second I pressed the buttons the screen went black. Not off, black. Like the phone was on but refusing to show me anything. And then, faintly, the speakers crackled. At first I thought it was static, but the longer I listened the clearer it got. Footsteps. Slow, dragging footsteps, and the faint squeak of rubber soles. Like hospital shoes on linoleum. A woman's voice followed, humming something tuneless and soft. It drifted in and out, like it was being played through an old cassette. My skin prickled as I realized I'd heard it before. It was the same melody my grandmother used to hum when she was in the hospital. The day she died, she kept repeating it between shallow breaths. And now it was leaking out of my phone speaker, quiet but close. Too close, because underneath the humming, I could hear another sound, something wet and wheezing, just beyond my bedroom door. I didn't want to look, but I couldn't stop myself. My hand moved on its own, slow as if underwater, reaching for the knob. I twisted it open just an inch and pressed my ear to the gap. The wheezing was louder now, labored, ragged breaths, like lungs filling with fluid. And under it, the faint squeak of those rubber soles sliding against the wood. I yanked the door open. The hallway was empty, perfectly still. No circular walls, no shadows, no impossible staircase. Just the normal stretch of carpet and framed pictures. Except, one picture wasn't right. It was the photo of my sister's graduation, the one that's been hanging there for years. But when I looked closer, her smile was gone. Her mouth was open, wide, like she was screaming. And behind her, blurry but unmistakable, stood a nurse in old-fashioned whites, cap and all, her face turned away, her hands clamped tight around my sister's shoulders. My stomach dropped. Then, from further down the hall, where the shadows thickened around the bend, came the soft humming again. The same tune. Getting closer. I stumbled back into my room, slammed the door, and pressed my weight against it like that flimsy wood could stop whatever was out there. The humming didn't stop. It grew clearer, steadier, until I could almost make out the words buried beneath it. Syllables stretched too long, warped like a record melting in heat. I grabbed the lamp again, clutching it like a bat. My phone buzzed in my pocket, nearly making me scream. When I pulled it out, the screen had come back on, glowing pale against the dark. A new message. She knows you now. That was all it said. No number, no name. Just those 4 words. Before I could even process it, the lights in my room flickered. Once. Twice. Then died completely. For a moment, there was nothing but black. And then, from the corner of the room, came the sound of nails on wood. Slow. Scraping. I wasn't alone anymore. I froze, gripping the lamp so hard my knuckles ached. The scraping continued, deliberate, like claws tracing lines into the floor. My eyes strained in the dark, trying to adjust, and then there. Something moved. Low to the ground, just a darker shape against the blackness. The void dog. Its body seemed to shift as if it wasn't bound to a single outline, rippling like liquid shadow. But the sound, the nails dragging, was solid. Real. I held my breath, waiting for it to lunge. Instead, it padded closer, each step impossibly quiet. My stomach twisted when I realized it wasn't coming toward me. It was heading for the laptop. The lid creaked open on its own, and the screen flared to life, bathing the room in pale blue light. I almost wished it had stayed dark, because what I saw made me want to claw my eyes out. The dog was gone. But sitting cross-legged on my bed was a woman in a nurse's uniform, her face completely blacked out, like someone had smeared ink across it. And in a voice that wasn't hers, she whispered through the speakers, "Go downstairs. I shook my head before I even realized I was doing it. No, no way. Every nerve in my body was screaming not to leave the room. But then my phone buzzed again. I didn't want to look. I swear I didn't. But my hand lifted it anyway. A photo. Blurry, dimly lit, taken from the bottom of my staircase. And in the photo, I was standing at the top, clutching my phone, staring down. Exactly how I was in that moment. My knees nearly gave out. Whoever, whatever, was sending these messages was inside my house. The humming started again, closer this time. Not in the hall. Not from the laptop. From the floorboards beneath me. I could hear her under the room, like she was pacing the ceiling of the floor below, humming that broken lullaby in time with the creaks of the wood. And then, 3 sharp knocks shook the floor under my feet. 1, 2, 3, followed by that same calm, suffocated voice. Come down. I backed against the wall, shaking my head so hard it made me dizzy. No, I whispered, though I don't know who I was talking to, her or myself, God. The knocks came again. Louder this time, rattling the glass in the window. Dust sifted down from the ceiling. Then, silence. I thought maybe it was over, until the stairs outside my room groaned. 1 step. Pause. Another step. Slow, deliberate, coming up toward me. I tried to dial 911, but when I unlocked my phone, the keypad wasn't there. Just a white screen with a single sentence typed across it. Don't call them. They can't climb the stairs. I dropped the phone like it was burning my hand. My chest tightened so bad I couldn't breathe right. The footsteps were right outside my door now. I held my breath, every muscle in my body locked. The handle didn't move this time. Instead, the humming started up again, on the other side of the door, low and steady, like she was standing just inches away. Then, very softly, a new sound joined in. The panting of a dog. The 2 sounds layered together, the soft, tuneless humming and the wet, hollow panting, and I swear it felt like they were vibrating through my bones. The doorknob turned. Not a rattle this time. A slow, steady twist, metal groaning as if it hadn't been touched in decades. I bolted forward, slamming my weight against it. The knob snapped back, but whatever was outside didn't stop. The door shuddered once, twice, like someone was leaning their full weight into it. I screamed. I don't even remember deciding to. It just tore out of me. My voice cracked, raw and ugly, and the moment it did, everything went still. No humming, no panting, no pressure on the door, just silence. I stayed there, trembling, cheek pressed against the cool wood, straining for the tiniest sound. Minutes dragged. Finally, I forced myself to step back. The knob turned on its own. The door creaked open. The hallway was dark, empty, but at the far end, illuminated by the faint orange glow of the streetlight through the window, something was waiting. A figure. Not the nurse. Not the dog. It was me. Smiling. I felt my stomach drop, like the floor had vanished beneath me. The figure at the end of the hall tilted its head, studying me with that awful grin that looked wrong on my face. Too wide, teeth showing, like a mask stretched too far. I couldn't move. My legs wouldn't listen. Then it raised its hand. My hand. And waved. That broke me. I slammed the door shut so hard the frame rattled and shoved the dresser in front of it, my hands slipping with sweat. My chest was heaving like I'd run a marathon. Silence again. For a few blessed seconds, nothing. Then the scratching started. Not at the door. On the ceiling above me. Long, dragging scratches, circling the room. Faster and faster until it sounded like dozens of nails carving spirals into the plaster. Dust rained down onto my bed. My phone buzzed from the floor. Against my better judgment, I picked it up. Another message. She's not the one you should fear. My hands shook so badly I almost dropped it again. I typed back without thinking. Then who? The reply came instantly. You. I stared at the screen until the words blurred. My throat felt tight, like something was squeezing it from the inside. Then I heard it. A laugh. Not from the hall, not from the ceiling. From inside my room. I spun around, lamp raised like a weapon, but the room looked empty. My cracked phone screen reflected my pale, terrified face. And then, for the briefest second, another one. Me again. Grinning. I dropped the phone, and it landed face up on the carpet. The camera was on now, front-facing, like it had switched itself. The image showed me standing there, trembling, clutching the lamp, but behind me, in the dark corner of the room, the silhouette of someone else. Same height, same posture. The me in the phone wasn't shaking. He wasn't afraid. He was smiling that same too wide smile I'd seen in the hall. And then, without me moving, the reflection in the phone lifted its hand and waved. Exactly like before. My phone went black, and the closet door behind me creaked open. The sound was so soft I almost convinced myself I imagined it. But then the air shifted, warmer, heavier, like something had opened a furnace in that tiny space. I turned, lamp trembling in my grip, and stared at the crack in the closet. It was pitch black inside. No hangers, no clothes, no back wall. Just a void, swallowing the light. And from somewhere deep in that darkness, I heard it, panting. Slow, steady, wet. The dog. But layered beneath it was something worse. A voice, low and strained, speaking in sync with my breath. Repeating my words, a split second behind. I whispered, "Please stop." And from the closet came my own voice. "Please stop." I dropped the lamp. The bulb shattered, plunging me into near-total darkness. My pulse hammered in my ears as the thing inside the closet started to laugh. My laugh, distorted, looping on itself like a broken recording. And then, in the dark, I felt it. Hot breath brushing the back of my neck. Too close to be inside the closet anymore. I bolted. I didn't even think. I just tore out of the room, down the hall, nearly tumbling headfirst down the stairs. My vision tunneled, every shadow flickering at the edges like it was ready to lunge at me. Halfway down the staircase, the air grew cold. My breath puffed out in clouds, but the wood under my feet was hot, like coals burning just beneath the surface. And then I saw her, the nurse, standing at the bottom of the stairs, arms at her sides, face still nothing but that smeared black void. Her body didn't move, but the humming was pouring out of her, rattling the picture frames on the wall. I froze, trapped halfway between her and whatever had been breathing behind me. She raised her arm, slowly, almost gently, pointing toward the front door. For the first time, I thought maybe she wasn't here to hurt me. Maybe she was warning me. I stumbled the rest of the way down the stairs, edging around her, eyes locked on the door. My fingers brushed the deadbolt. That's when I noticed the windows. Every pane of glass showed the same thing. Not my street, not the night outside. Just rows and rows of me. Dozens of copies, standing shoulder to shoulder in the dark, all of them smiling. I staggered back from the door, my head spinning. Everywhere I turned, kitchen window, living room, even the tiny glass panel above the door, there I was. Hundreds of me, all grinning like mannequins, teeth too white, eyes too fixed. The nurse didn't move. She just kept humming, but the sound had shifted. Faster now, urgent, like a warning. I pressed my hand against the front door. The wood was vibrating under my palm, as if something huge was pushing from the other side. Then, from outside, through all those grinning reflections, one of them blinked. Only one. And the second its eyes flicked shut and open again, every single smile in the glass snapped into a snarl. Rows of teeth, jagged and endless, pressing against the glass like they were ready to chew their way through. The nurse's humming turned into a sharp, broken wail. And in that split second, I had to choose. Open the door and run into whatever that was. Or turn back toward the stairs, where I could already hear my own laughter echoing down from the dark. I froze, torn between two nightmares. My own laughter from upstairs was getting louder, spilling down the staircase like water. Too many voices overlapping, all of them me. The windows rattled, the glass warping under the weight of those snarling reflections pressing against it. The nurse reached for me, not fast, not violent, just lifting one gloved hand toward my shoulder as if to push me back. Her touch was ice. The second her fingers brushed me, the humming stopped. The laughter stopped. The snarling outside cut off like a switch had been flipped. The silence was worse. Then the nurse leaned close, and though her face was nothing but black, I swear I felt her lips at my ear. "You already let him in." My stomach dropped. I spun toward the staircase. And there I was, halfway down, standing on the steps. Same clothes, same shaking hands, same wide, awful smile. But this one didn't just wave. It started walking toward me. I stumbled back until my shoulders hit the front door. The copy of me kept coming, step by step. That grin stretched, so wide I thought the skin might tear. The nurse was gone, just vanished, leaving me alone with myself. I raised my hands instinctively, like maybe I could fight it off, but the thing mirrored me. Every twitch, every flinch, like I was staring into a warped, delayed reflection. Except its grin never broke. When it reached the bottom of the stairs, it stopped. My phone buzzed in my pocket. With shaking hands, I pulled it out. One new message. No number. Which one are you? I looked up, and there were two of us now. Both grinning. Both stepping forward. And in that instant, I couldn't tell anymore if I was the one holding the phone or the one watching.